evening, New York. This is Bryn Prieto for scienceRUS, New York City's premier scientific news channel. Today we have a very special guest who will be talking with us about science and the evolutionary process. Welcome, Tara Stevenson.
Hello.
Tara is an evolutionist who studies apes and their connections to humans, and which gives us answers about where we came from. So tell us, Tara, tell us about your work.
Well, I'm obviously very passionate about my current project. We have actually only started it this January when Barack Obama took office. We had, during the Bush administration, a lot of our scientific funding was cut. We actually had to fire a bunch of our lab techs because we just couldn't afford to keep the project running. So it's actually been reinstated. Now what we do is we have a lot of chimps for studying that we keep in the lab because, as you know, humans descended from chimps. Well, that is the evolutionary theory that we believe in, clearly as scientists. You believe these? Of course. Well, anyway, so what we do is we take samples from the chimps and compare them to human samples through karyotypes, and this can show us the chromosomes, and at certain alleles, the genes differ. And then we can see, well, during this evolutionary process, this is what changed. And that gives us more insight into how this occurred. So it's all very fascinating.
Really? Okay, so tell us, for those out there who aren't as brilliant as you are, obviously, that may not know what a karyotype is, what this tells us about where man came from versus what a great portion of the world and the population in the United States believes about the creationism theories.
Well, the point, obviously, as many of you may know, evolution originated with Darwin. Now, what this does is these karyotypes are showing us that, well, the main thing that it shows us is that human chromosomes and chimp chromosomes are extremely similar. Although our species may now look to us almost completely different, we actually, the majority of our genes are the same. And this is really fascinating, and it's part of the foundation of this theory and part of the proof. So what shows us is that we can see the genes where things are different. So we can tell certain genes maybe for intelligence, obviously for secondary sex characteristics such as hair. We can see how this changed, and we can actually look to see how these evolved, because actually evolution occurs from genetic mutation, which is just sort of base substitution deletions where our gene sequences change. And it's just more proof for the scientific community that, in fact, we did come from evolution. This is how the world originated.
And you believe that this completely blocks out any religious ideas that could be morphed with evolution?
Definitely, just without a doubt. I have all respect for religion, except there is no factual basis in this. There is just no way this could have happened. It's not like one day there was nothing and the next day there was something. Evolution is a process that takes millions and millions of years. And unlike the religious community, we have facts, we have science, we have logic on our side.
But take, for example, there are religious people, such as on a news channel in Utah, Christian Watch.
I don't watch that.
Okay, well, as a news anchor, I watch many different shows, and this one woman...
I wouldn't consider that news, though.
This one woman, a missionary, who spent a lot of time in Ethiopia, she said that she believed that, yes, evolution did occur, however, God made it this way. Even if the same evolutionary processes took place, the same changes were made, she said she believed that God made it that way. Could you possibly accept that?
I feel that as a scientist, a devout scientist, I do have a Nobel Prize. I won one, and I feel that it would be untrue to that to compromise my beliefs with that of faith. I think that all this woman is doing is she's merely seeing the errors in her ways, and she is slowly being influenced by the scientific community and realizing that maybe her beliefs aren't right. And I think it's fine to have a religion, but I think if you see absolute proof that science is ahead of this, that there's no reason why you should follow these. And I think that there's just no way that the creation story could have occurred. So I don't sympathize with those beliefs.
Okay. Other than having to deal with such beliefs that you obviously are strongly against, what are some of the problems and difficulties you face in your everyday line of work?
Well, obviously, this has become less of a problem, but there obviously are many people religious in the government, especially during the Bush administration, and we found that this was a big problem, was getting adequate funding, and because many people would have had differing beliefs, it was just very difficult to necessarily get the support and backing that we needed.
Okay. Lastly, do you believe that it is possible to be a religious person, but also share views? I know you don't believe that you can morph creationism with evolutionism. However, can you be a religious person yet still have strong faith in all that is scientifically proven, all that is has to do with science?
While I know there are religious scientists out there, or people who call themselves religious or call themselves scientists, I think that to believe one is it's just a direct clash with the other. It's a contradiction of your beliefs. So I think that if you're a scientist, but you believe that you're religious and you always have those thoughts in the back of your mind, I think you can never truly focus on your work.
Yeah.
And it's just a contradiction to your beliefs. So although I think it exists, I don't think it works.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Stevenson.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching tonight's show of Sciences Are Us. Next week, we have a very important guest speaker, Dr. Francis Collins, who, unlike tonight's speaker, believes that faith and reason can coexist in one person. Also, an elementary school teacher from the Bronx will tell us how fun science fairs can be. Thank you for watching. Keep evolving. Brin Prieto.